Hello everybody and welcome. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Offworld Trading Company, a real-time strategy game currently in early access on Steam. It came out a little while ago in early access and has had some updates since I first took a look at it a while back. Well, this is an interesting thing. So it is a real-time strategy game with no military units. That's right. What is this sacrilege thing I'm talking about? Well, it's actually an economic real-time strategy game where instead of trying to blow up your opponent's base, you're trying to buy out their business. So there's a lot of manipulation of prices and supply and demand, and also, well, I shouldn't say there isn't any combat because there is. There is a sabotage ability that allows you to do negative things to your opponent. So there is a single player kind of tutorial stuff, campaign, you can skirmish against the AI, and then a daily challenge right now. And of course you can play in multiplayer as well. So we're going to take a look at a skirmish game though to give you an idea of how the game plays. So I'm playing on relatively easy difficulty against two other AI people, and then it is nice you have all these options here that basically you can change around how quick things move, what things are in the game. There are, you can turn off the sabotage if you don't like that, if you just want to learn the game without it, but I'll leave it on so that you can see how everything works. So let's just take a look at it. So one nice thing about when you're playing single player is you can pause the game at any time. That obviously makes it a lot easier. So we're going to pause it right now. So this is kind of the home base. None of the players own this. We're going to decide where to put down our base. And before the game starts, we're going to want to scan the area to see where resources are. So I can click somewhere and then it'll show me where these resources are in here. You know, here's a big pile of resources over here. So right here is a ton of water. And it looks like there's a lot of resources concentrated around here. So thermal vents, aluminum. So basically each one of these, well, a lot of these resources are going to be signified by something out here. And then the height of the thing. So this is water here basically, and if you hover over it, it'll tell you what it is. And this is a medium deposit, so you can either have a 1-level deposit, a 2-level, or a 3-level is the highest. So this would be, you know, a nice deposit of aluminum over here. And it looks like there are just a ton of resources on this map. So a lot of iron, a lot of water, and you know, we're going to scan some more. And again, I have the game paused right now just to check this out. So there is kind of a race to see who can get down first, and yet at the same time you definitely want to have a good position, because you're going to have to ship resources that you mine to get to wherever you are. And then whenever you are ready, you can build a base. And there are 4 different types of bases that you can build, and that's going to change the way that you're going to play. Expansive is kind of simple. You get the most claims. Needs a little bit less steel, units travel a little faster. Robotic, they get bonuses for building things next to what supplies them. And what's kind of interesting about this is when you build like an expansive base, the other bases, you're going to be run by humans basically. So you're going to need oxygen and food and things like that. Whereas the robots, they are different. You know, they're going to use more energy. So they require no fuel to send their ships back and forth, but so basically each one has a different function. Scientific, they basically they can get patents more, so they're going to want to. There's a button you can get that lets you get things that other players can't get, little bonuses and things like that. And they when they build over resources, this is input. Oh yeah, so they basically have advantages for where they build and things like that. And it's all, we don't want to get into all that much. The scavengers can use the black market more frequently, though. They and they learn about events before they're going to happen. And it also shows you, what the main resource you're going to want to focus on for each race. So I haven't played enough to really know all of the nuances. I've played Expansive and Robotic quite a bit. I'm going to go ahead and do Expansive, and then we're going to choose where to sit down. And again, if I wasn't explaining this, I probably wouldn't be pausing this to give myself such an advantage. And wherever you set down, you're going to get those resources, and you see numbers popping up there, but you won't be able to mine there anymore. So you want to be close to resources that you can grab, but not necessarily taking up the really nice resources space. So I kind of like this space right here. It's going to get us directly next to a big aluminum and water deposit and very close to a big carbon deposit. And also closer geothermal, but that really doesn't matter so much. So I'm going to choose to put this down here. And then we'll see we have 5 claims right now. So basically, we can claim a tile and send somebody out to build something on there. And if we do that, it'll take up one of our claims. However, if we send to somewhere far away and another player claims that same tile, it's basically whoever gets there first will be able to build it. And then we'll get that claim back if we didn't actually finish it. So what we're going to want right now, we're definitely going to want some water to produce things. And we definitely want this carbon here in order to produce steel, because that's pretty important to us. So I'm going to go ahead and unpause the game, and then whenever I go to a resource, I can go to the water. I'm going to construct a water pump right here, and it's nice because it's right next to us, whereas if I build this metal mine over here to get this carbon, a drone will fly out and build this base here, but then I'll have to fly the resources back. So the further away something is, the longer it's going to take to get to you. Whereas in this, as soon as it generates the resource, it'll go straight to my supply, which is kind of nice. So we'll zoom out. So here's the main city. Do we see anybody else yet? So we get to see a lot of the other stuff that's available on the map. And overall, I'm pretty happy with where we're at. Another thing I want to build right away is a geothermal plant. Now here's the thing, I may not be playing this game very well. I haven't really looked up a lot of how to play. I've just been experimenting a little bit with myself, but that sounds a little odd. Experimenting with the game a little bit myself. So we're going to build a geothermal plant here. There are solar plants, there are wind plants, and there is kind of a day-night cycle. The nice thing about geothermal plants is they just, do what they do. You don't have to worry so much about when you're going to be getting higher amounts of energy and stuff like that, and any energy thing is going to send you the resources right away. So we have 2 claims left. However, we can always get more claims. Basically, we start with a level 1 place right now, but we can go up to level 5, and the more we build, the more we're going to have access to claims, although the more resources we're going to use. So if we look at this, if we upgrade to level 2, we need 25 aluminum, or 40 aluminum, we have 25. What's interesting about this game is you see the 305 next to that. It's basically saying that we can go ahead and spend $305 to buy the resources we need to finish off that aluminum. And that is based on where the market is right now. Aluminum costs, I believe it's 20 per 10 basically is how these work. So at any point when we have resources, we can sell them or buy more. Or if we're building a building that requires resources, see we need 2,530 for the rest of the steel. So we're not going to upgrade right now. We still have 2 more tiles that we can get. So what do we want to focus on? Well, we could go get that aluminum right now, which is not a bad idea, and maybe build a steel mill is what I'm thinking. So some things you're going to build directly on things, and some things actually use other resources to produce things. So if we look at the steel mill here, it consumes a certain amount of power, it consumes iron, and then it gives us steel. So we're going to build that, and then we can build it next to one of our things out in the open, but then we'll have to fly back, or we can build it next to our home base, which we're going to do because, well, it's going to save some time there. Now, let's also get, what is this? I want to get the aluminum here. So we're going to get this. This is right next to our base. So we won't have to worry about, you see this ship flying in here, supplying goods. So the further something away is, the longer it's going to take. And we see it's generating. We take a look at it. It's got 20, and now it's going to fly back. So it is pretty intuitive. It's a lot of stuff at first, but as you get used to the look of it, it's like, okay, I can kind of see what's going on here. So I think we're going to wait until we produce a little bit. So our aluminum's going up because it's right next to the base. Instead of having to wait until it gets 20 of them and fly back, it's just generating one at a time, right directly to us. So now I'm going to pause here because we just got a notification that the black market is online. So at the black market, we can buy another claim, which I think we're going to do right away, which those are nice. And then there's a bunch of other stuff we can do. We can, I'm trying to remember, because this changed a little bit since when I played it when it first came out. Run a mule robot to get the resource off of the map. Okay, so without building a place or whatever, there's storms and power surges that, shut down places temporarily. Storms. Oh, it caused transports to crash. Okay, so when people are sending their goods back, power surges temporarily shut down an enemy's buildings, and they kind of hit an area of effect. The power spreads out. So we can use an adrenaline boost on one of our own things to boost our own people. We can purchase a mutiny where basically we take over an individual building or something from another player briefly, but it can be defended. So I can purchase a goon squad, and basically if I put a goon squad on one of my buildings, none of the other players will know what building I put it on, and if they try to take it over or affect it in some way, my goon squad will basically stop it. So we see, so the goon squad also stops power surges. So it basically protects an individual building. But we're going to purchase a claim right away. So you see we have one additional claim right now. So let's see here, how are we doing? So this is pretty nice. It's showing us we're generating an additional 1.7 power, which basically we're then selling that power for whatever the market price is. There are things you can get to let you store a little bit of power, but basically this is the amount of money we're making for power. We're in excess on everything right now except for fuel. We are definitely going to need fuel. So I think I'm going to go ahead and... Actually, there's two things we need. We need oxygen and fuel, because we need oxygen in order to get fuel. So I'm going to go ahead and build that, I don't know, right here. And then, how are we set to upgrade? Alright, our steel is coming in. We need 1,100. Alright, we're getting close. I could just spend the money to get this right now, or I could wait and not spend any money. So I'm going to go ahead and hurry it up just a little bit, and now we're going to build a fuel thing. Now notice, if I build this fuel thing right here, it says a 50% bonus, because I'm next to the building, basically, that is supplying it. So that's kind of cool. So we're going to do that now. So now we're going to be generating some fuel. Black market's online. Alright, so now that we've expanded, though, I'm going to go ahead. Nobody's buying the claims right now. I'm going to go ahead and buy that right now. So basically, everything goes up based on whoever buys it. So let's pause and take a quick look at the map and see. So here's the main base. So here we have a robotic HQ at level 1, and we see kind of their connections and things like that. We see a robotics level 2 HQ. So it looks like both of our opponents here are playing robots. So let's go ahead and talk about this stuff right up here. I'm playing on a pretty easy level, so I own more of my own stock than my opponents. They basically own one stock of their stuff, and then the price right now, so it's 13,494 in order to buy a grouping of their shares of stock. And how you win the game is basically by buying out your opponents. You can also buy your own stock. So basically what you're doing then is if you own a share of stock, it's, I believe, doubling the price, making it harder for opponents to buy your own stock. So your stock is based on all kinds of things, including your debt. Right now we don't have any debt, which is fantastic. You can obviously go into debt, but if you do, basically at the start of a new day, you're going to have to pay a certain amount in interest. So, but at any point you can pay your debt off by 1,000 at a time and just keep clicking pay it off entirely, so that you don't have to worry about that. So I believe debt lowers your stock price, and obviously, and things like that. So it is nice that we're in a surplus right now and we're not worried about that. But again, it's something that there are going to be times that you're going to need to go in debt, and it's not that big of a deal, but you want to get out of it as soon as possible because it is going to cost you money. So this is, yeah, how our opponents are doing and whatever. So we're in pretty good shape right now. And like I said, I am playing on a fairly easy AI. So we have 5 new claims right now. So what do we want to do? Well, we're not generating a bunch of food. We're in a minus in food right now. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to zoom in. Now, where do I have my other food processor? Why am I missing it? Did I not build a food processor yet? Maybe I didn't. Okay. So we're definitely going to want some food. We don't necessarily want to cover up these resource nodes. So, is there anywhere I'm going to get a bonus for? I don't believe so. But we do want to build our food close to our base and just get the resources right away. So we're now going to be generating some food as soon as that gets built. You can cancel something as somebody's flying out. You can demolish buildings. You don't get the claim back if you demolish a building, but you do get the ability to, let's see here. Yeah, I'm just going to buy another claim. I am playing on an easier AI. Getting claims is super important later in the game. Alright, so here, I'm going to pause the game for a second here. We just had an auction show up. This is something you can turn off or leave on. So basically, this is an auction for an additional plot. So you may say, well, it's already at 3,000, you know, it's going to go up from there. Why would you buy one of these? Well, later in the games, these are going to get stupidly expensive. So you may want to spend quite a bit more for one of these plots that pops up than what this current price is, especially if these are offline right now. So the AI and me are all going to have the ability to bid and I can say, yeah, I'll bid 5,000, and once somebody stops, eventually they'll pay that price, and you can, this is one of the ways you can definitely go into debt. Oh, okay, I actually wanted to click on it and I missed it there. I was kind of talking, not really paying attention. So the computer paid that, and then we see here, right now, I'm going to pause it again, we see this is going down right now. There can be random surpluses and shortages in goods, which then make the price go up and down, obviously based on supply and demand. So right now there's a surplus of power, and I believe that's a random thing. Although I think you can get like a hacking unit that allows you to manipulate the market. So the price is going down on energy, and because I have a surplus, I'm basically going to be generating less money for my energy. But obviously, if the price is going up, then you have a lot of that good, you're going to want to sell it. So right now, I have a lot of iron. I might build another steel mill and use some of that I have there. And actually, yeah, I have the claims to do it, so I'm going to construct a steel mill. And let's see here, it's right next to the other one, we'll get another bonus, and then we still have, you know, we're spending more in our resources in order to get this stuff, so I should use some of the claims. So we want some more water too. So here's a 2 spot right next to that 3 spot, and because it's next to it, it's going to get a bonus, it's next to our base, so that is super nice. So we're going to be in the surplus on everything, including money, and we have 3 tiles left to do. So let's talk about some of the other things that you can build. So you can build things basically to mine resources, you can build things to convert goods into other goods. So obviously like electronics, you can't mine electronics, and it consumes aluminum, carbon, and silicone. However, electronics, because they're more rare, you know, they're using some more advanced stuff, and they tend to get a pretty good price. Glass is something we also probably want to worry about at some point. So we need oxygen, silicone, and power to do that. So how are we doing? We're in the surplus. We don't have any silicone yet, so I'm going to take a look and see. So it is kind of nice. If I click on something, it'll show me all the places I can go. And basically it's the same sort of building to mine either carbon or silicone. So it's showing us all the different options. So there's some carbon stuff out there, and there's not a lot of silicone. Wow. Alright, so I maybe should have thought about this sooner. So is 1 the highest spot? So 1, and then also some carbon. 1, 1, and that's carbon. Alright, so this is a real bummer. So I'm definitely seeing this now. Want to build this. So if I build here, you know, let's see here. It looks like I only get that. I'm not sure. Do I get both? But basically, I might build a couple of these next to each other right now, because there isn't a lot on the map, and it looks like that is going to be something that there is a shortage of. So I'm going to build 2 of them next to each other in order to make sure I get those slots before an opponent gets them, and that they're going to pump each other up. So even though neither one of them are producing a lot of a resource, they will help each other to produce more. So how are we doing over here? Everything's still in the surplus. We might want some more food, because we're kind of close there when we expand. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now in preparation for when we expand again. So we're going to go ahead and build some more food, because our demands are going to go up here. We're not a lot ahead in power either, so can we build another geothermal plant? Yeah, so I'm just going to show you real quick. We could build solar, and then it'll show you, like, we don't have any claims right now, so I'm going to have to upgrade here. We don't have glass. Are we producing glass yet? Don't think so. So maybe that's the first thing we'll produce. We'll have to pay a little extra to get glass production. The price of glass is pretty high right now. So is there anywhere we're going to get a bonus? I'm trying to think. I don't know. So we'll just build the glass out here. So we are producing glass now, and then we're going to want our energy consumption is getting pretty close. So if I click on solar panel, see here I'm getting like 1.3, there I'm getting 1.2, and it's basically giving you like a heat map of what's going to generate the best stuff for you, but I really like geothermal if we can get it. So it's just a straight 2.4 there. Now solar panels and wind panels and stuff like that, though, again, you can build them next to each other to get a nice bonus. So we still have 3 claims left, and what do we want to do with that? So we're going to pause and look at some of these special buildings. So we can get a patent laboratory. By building this, we basically are going to use chemicals to do research to get patents that other players do not have. We can get an upgrade laboratory that allows us to basically boost certain types of productions. Now, the thing about the patent laboratory, though, is once somebody has a patent, it's gone. Nobody else can get it. And we were playing against 2 scientific players that might focus on patents eventually. We can get a hacker array. So this is what I was talking about. We can manipulate the prices of the stock market. It's going to cost us a lot because we don't have any electronics right now. Or we can get a pleasure dome. So pleasure dome is pretty cool. Basically, it's a place people can go and spend money, and you get money for it, basically, based on how big the area is. And then also an off-world market. So you can always sell goods over here based on their price, and we're doing pretty good on food, and it's a decent price. Actually, why don't I just go ahead and show that right now? I'm going to sell 10 of my food, and then, you know, I got money based on the current price of food. But of course, as I sell, the price goes down because, you know, we are meeting that demand for the supply. Okay, so what do we have now? So a patent is actually up right now. So this is, once somebody buys this, now nobody else will be able to have it or get it. And I definitely want this one. Minus 50% power consumption. That's fantastic. So, you know, now eventually the price... Oh, and I have it paused. That's why it's not going down. Nobody's spinning. So eventually I might not be generating a lot of money, but this is something particularly early in the game that if you can get, and I don't mind going into debt to get this one. So I actually have the 12,000. I won't go into debt. Sweet. I don't go into debt. I get the patent, and now my energy consumption goes down. I'm getting more, generating more money for my energy. So what do we want to focus on right now? Do we want to manipulate the market? Do we want to generate money? Do we want to... let's see here. Are we producing... Yeah. I think right now I'm going to produce electronics. We have a lot of silicone, and yeah, electronics is going to help us get other upgraded stuff. So, and again, we can build that right close to our base. Now, there is a disadvantage to building everything in a cluster, though. So your opponents might do one of those power surges or something, and then hit a whole, you know, area of important buildings and shut them down for a while. So while building next to your base a lot of things is nice because you don't have to ship them, you are setting yourself up potentially for attack. Okay, so we have 2 other claims. So we're going to start generating electronics here. How are we doing here? We do need... Oh, we are going to need some carbon eventually. Alright, new day. So everyone who had debt has to pay 5% interest. So we're losing carbon. We're going to have to start paying for it. So where is a good place to build carbon? And there was kind of a shortage of that too. So this is a... Is that a 2 slot? Yeah, that's a 2 slot, and there's some 1 slots next to it, and it's not far away. So let's go ahead and get some carbon from there. And then... Let's see here. Oh, we're getting a lot of silicone here. It's not worth a whole bunch yet. But we're going to want some chemicals as well. How are we doing? So we can upgrade in a moment here. So I'm going to go ahead and build some chemicals, so we're generating that. Alright, so somebody built an upgrade laboratory, so it's notifying, and there's a kind of a chat over here letting everybody know what's going on. I think I'm going to buy another claim for 7,000. That's still not bad. We're still not in debt. We are still on the positive of everything, which is fantastic. So I have another claim, so I might use that claim before I upgrade again and start having to use more resources and see how much excess power we have now. We're not getting a lot because there's such a surplus of power, but it's nice to have that, especially because we're going to upgrade here in a moment. So what do we want to focus on? Like I said, I don't really want to focus on patents, upgrades, you could hack. Let's build a pleasure dome. We have the electronics for it, and it's basically based on, you know, how big the area is that it's attached to. Okay, so slant drilling. So you can mine adjacent tiles. That's pretty nice.
8,000.
Alright, wow, so it's going up here.
14.
It's a nice technology to have, but you know what? I really don't want to go in debt right now. So we're going to build the pleasure dome. We are a little bit in debt right now, but I can pay off that debt with the money I have. And then we still have, so before money comes around, I won't have to worry about that. And now we're kind of in good shape. We're generating a bunch of stuff. Fuel is like right on the edge. So I have enough of it that I don't necessarily need to worry about building more, but as I build more mines and have more ships flying back and forth, I'm going to use more fuel.
The black market is online.
Alright, so the black market's online. I don't have the 10,000 to buy that. Let's see here. I could sabotage somebody, I could protect somebody, but I think I'm going to save that for later. So, our pleasure dome's about to be built. Let's check it out. Woohoo! So, you can hear the kind of the techno disco music there. going off, and basically now people have a place to go to have fun, and I'm generating money from it. So what do we want to focus on? I'm going to show you now. I have a bunch of aluminum now, so I could actually turn off something that is generating aluminum. So wasn't that right next to my base here? Yeah, so this is generating aluminum. So I'm going to click on something. I can bulldoze this place. I don't get a claim back. I have to build there if I want to, or I could just shut it off. So if I shut it off, I can turn it back on later if I want to generate aluminum again, which is nice, but I don't lose the building. Or I could just bulldoze it and build something else there. So again, I don't get a new claim, but I do have that space available still. So what do we want to do? So I don't know. We can sell off a little bit of glass because the price is pretty high on that. Sell off. No, I'm gonna sell off electronics. So actually, what I want to build is this off-world market. So this allows you to sell to, places off the planet, basically, instead of just selling at the market price. And it can be pretty lucrative. Now, food is a pretty high price, and I've got a bunch of it. So, nice. We're going to sell that. Not a bad price on oxygen. We're going to sell some of that. And we're also and food is going back up again. So let's sell a little bit more. And we're also crashing the market for other players now, so if they want to sell, they won't get as much. So let's see here, sell a little bit more of that. Now this we have a ton of, but the price is great. We have a lot of steel and the price is pretty good. Chemicals. Now we use chemicals for research, but I don't think we're going to build a research place right now. Alright. Let's see here. So there's kind of a computer doing chats over here.
8,000.
Circuit overloads would do
9,000.
Yeah. Don't really want to improve. See, I don't tend to do a lot of the sabotage stuff unless I feel like I have to, so I'm not going to do that. What I could do, however, is I could take a look at my opponents here. So I need 16,000 to buy this guy's stock, 18,000. And this guy's the cheaper stock right now, so we're going to go ahead and buy some of their stock. We can buy one more. So you see, we are slowly taking over this company. I think we're going to kind of focus fire after this guy, who's in a little worse position. Now, we're giving him money, though, when we're doing that. So, interesting. It's something that you want to make sure you do at the right time. But we're also set up better where, we're buying him when he's relatively low and then setting up to maybe completely buy him out later. Alright, so people are expanding. So I need to expand. Why am I not expanding? Alright, yeah, we were behind here. So now we have some more claims. So I'm going to pause it for a second and let's figure out what I want to do with these claims. So, we're getting close to an off-world market. We don't have the money quite to do it yet. But what do we want to focus on? We could produce more of something. I know glass seems to be doing really well. Electronics are nice. I really like having electronics. So I think I'm going to build another electronics place. So where should we build that? So there's a bonus there for being next to that one here. Let's build another electronics. And then we'll be getting more electronics in order to build the off-world site that we want to do. Is there anything else we want to build? We could do an upgrade laboratory. Well, here, now we have access to this. I'm going to build this right away. So once this off-world thing gets built, we're basically going to send off a rocket to sell to other places. So we have the goods. We can upgrade to level 5 in a moment, but we're going to use up our claims first because it does use more resources when you upgrade. Some of our stuff is getting kind of close here, but I don't know. We're in pretty good shape, actually. Our fuel is going down, but we have enough excess fuel that I'm not worried about it. So let's see here. This off-world market, slowly being built. I do kind of like the animations here. Get the sound as we're building the rocket to go into space. And once this is built, I'll show you how that works. Do we want to... Yeah, I'm going to do an upgrade laboratory. Why not? So we're just going to put that over here. So yeah, it's going to allow us to basically up our production in certain things. So if there's something that there seems to be other players have a real shortage on, that the prices are good, and then we can produce more of, that's a nice thing to do. So we are almost done here, 98. Alright, there we go. So now when I click on this, I have a whole new market, and I can sell 100 goods at one time. And then this is the prices that we are going to get for it. So we definitely have enough oxygen, and this is going to get us the most money. So let's do it. We're going to get 46,000. So basically right now we're putting the rocket up, we're filling it up, and then once this timer gets down to 0, that is going to launch and we're going to get the goods for it. And once that does, we can go ahead and launch another one. So what is this for? Extra claim? We'll see how high the price goes. I'm going to let them bid. I'll bid 12. See, oh, so he went right up to 14.
16.
Okay, 16. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to let him have it. I've got 3 claims left I haven't expanded yet. I'm not too worried about claims right now.
24,000.
So I think I can minimize or whatever, but alright, sold. So there goes that claim. And we'll check out the goods coming in here, check out all the machinery working, the pleasure domes going. Ooh, vehicles destroyed. Bummer. Okay, so somebody did a magnetic storm and blew up some of my stuff as it's being shipped out. So where... Oh, actually, it's kind of nice. I can click, and it'll show me where something has happened. So basically, around here is where the storm happened, and there aren't... We don't have any pirates in this one? Interesting. There is, I don't know if it just comes in later or whatever, but there is a thing where you can basically set up a group of pirates to intercept ships and steal goods from other players, but I don't see that on the black market right now. So we could mutiny, we could do... So why don't I just go ahead and show you a... we can do a mutiny or a power surge. Power surges look cool. So while I don't usually... Oh, there we go. There's our rocket taking off to go somewhere else. So we could... I don't know, let's go after this guy. So I wonder, is this because I have stock in him I can't attack him maybe? I'm not sure. But let's do a power surge. Let's zoom in nice and close and go boom! So basically I froze a couple of places and they're not going to work for a certain amount of time. Like I said, I don't tend to focus on that, but okay, this guy is buying shares of himself, protecting himself from me coming in and doing this. Bam! Alright, so I became the... Wait a minute, how's that working? Okay, this changed a little bit from before. It used to be you had to buy everything, but now, if rival player controls 150% of the player's company stock, subsidiary and a player... Okay, so, it used to be you had to buy everything, but... Oh, there we go. So, there we go. You just need a majority now. So now, things swapped around. So now, basically, this is turned blue, and I own this guy, and then this is my only opponent that's left. So we have enough money. We're going to go ahead and buy some stock there. But there's a few things I want to do before we finish off the game. So let's go ahead and pause. Let's get back to our base here. And let's see here. Now what I can do, I'm going to click here. Basically, we own this now. So the resources that this person is generating and things like that, we are now getting, which is fantastic. And, you know, so now we're definitely, we own that place, and we're doing well here, so we're in a pretty good position to be able to buy this guy out pretty soon. So once you own someone else's place, you have an advantage. But in a game with a lot of players, you know, somebody else might take someone else out first, then another player might, you know, get like the fourth player or whatever. So just because you're the first one to buy someone else out doesn't mean you're going to win. So let's go ahead and ship some more goods. What are we going to get the most for? It looks like oxygen. Sweet, we have plenty of it, so we're going to do that. We're going to build another ship to send off. And then here is showing us, now we can up production on something because we built this thing that allows us to do that. So what do we want to up production in? Electronics are doing really well. So we're going to have to spend 20 chemicals, and then this timer's going to go off. So I could queue multiple ones of this, and then when this one finishes, the next one will trigger, or I could trigger somewhere else here. But right now we're spending the chemicals. We've got plenty of chemicals, so what else should we up? Let's up our glass. Maybe I can't queue multiple ones. Oh yeah, there it goes. Popped up. So this one will trigger first. I can right-click to cancel them, and then our glass production will go up as well. So that is pretty sweet. Alright, what else do we want to build? So, like I said, a hacker array will allow us to manipulate shortages and surpluses and things over here. Why not build a patent laboratory just so we can see it? Because we're in a pretty good position right now. So I don't want to buy out the majority just yet, but let us sell some of this. We see our money going up as we're selling electronics and the price going down. I'm going to sell some glass. We have enough to buy another share of stock here. I want to hold off though, just for the moment. Alright, so let's watch our ship launch here. Setting off oxygen, going to get another influx of money. Alright, so like I said, real-time strategy game. Oh, we got a ton of food and that's doing pretty well. Sell a bunch of that. And so but a different focus. We're not trying to blow up our opponents, we're trying to buy them out. So what happened here? Alright, no pesky attacks. Okay, whatever. So let's ship something else. Yeah, ship some more of that. Our production is working on that, just about finished with that. But now, so these patents have been purchased by different players. Although now that I kind of own this player, I get slant drilling, which is fantastic. So, what do we want to do? Cold fusion, buildings are powered with water. There's all kinds of cool stuff. Things generate more power if they're connected to you. This is like a battery, basically, that allows you to get more power. I can check, does my opponent have debt? Okay, no, it looks like they are not, or this guy isn't. Is this guy in debt? So if he was in debt, I could basically make money on his debt. I could fill with water. 100% profit from Pleasure Dome. Carbon scrubbing. This is kind of nice. How are we doing on carbon? So that is right here. So we're alright, but basically buildings can get carbon from the air instead of having to use them, so use less, minus 50% sabotage. Teleport resources. Why not? Let's do that. We'll spend 80 and then this will eventually fill up. So then we won't have to send ships back and forth and won't use any fuel. Now we're doing alright on fuel as it is. We have a small surplus, but just because it sounds cool, we're going to build that. So that's kind of how the patent office works. Now if another player is currently building this and they build it first, then they'll get it and I won't. I think I do get, I don't really need another plot, so I do get the chemicals back, though, I believe, if someone else finishes it first, but somebody can steal something out from under you if they're also researching it. So what else do we want to do? I think we've shown off most of what I wanted to show off. I mean, we can build a hacker array, but basically we can click on it, trigger, and then increase or decrease the price of something by manipulating the market, by convincing people there's a shortage or a surplus. Wow, chemicals are worth a lot. So yeah, we're just going to dump that, and I wonder if we probably have enough to just buy out our opponent. So, like I said, I think I showed off the black market, showed off all the different resources, the special buildings that you get. So overall, before I buy out my opponent, this is a game that I really like. I got it when it first came out, and you know they've been slowly adding content. They have changed the graphical style. I will say the game looks better than it did before. Although, when the game first came out in early access, I had a really easy time telling the buildings apart, even from a decent distance. Whereas now it's a little bit trickier because it's not quite so simple and utilitarian. It's not quite as practical to, but I think as I play it more, I'll probably get used to it. It's just the buildings had a little bit less detail, but it made them very just definable from each other, even when you were zoomed out. So we own that. Here's this guy. Check out his stats. Go back to here. So I didn't even go to level 5, but like I said, I'm playing on a pretty easy difficulty level just to show it off. So, let's see here. I don't know why. There are pirates in the game, but for some reason I didn't see that down here. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe somebody in the comments probably knows, but basically you can click on them, and or maybe pirates only come up in random auctions. That may be. I don't remember. It's been a while since I played the game from when it first came out, but basically you can take a look at all the routes on the map, and you can see, you can set pirates up in an area, so I could like set pirates up here and they would intercept all these ships coming back and forth along these trade routes. So it takes a little while to get used to what all the symbols mean and all that, but you know, after getting used to it, it's really not that difficult of a game and a pretty interesting take on real-time strategy. So do we have enough? Bam, and oh, okay, so we're a little bit short, but that's alright. What is worth a lot of money? Is that enough? So we can buy... Bam. Alright. So we bought out the last player. Fireworks go off. We are now victorious. Alright, I think we'll get a little, stat screen here to show things off. Basically how we did and all the different stats, purchase, all different kinds of stuff. So overall I have to say this is a pretty neat game. I'm probably going to look at the campaign at some point, see if it's changed from the original, and, you know, obviously you can play against other players as well. I'm sure there are people playing it for a long time that would just crush me, but, you know, if you were interested in real-time strategies and looking for something different, or if you're interested in economic games and looking for something different, because this is definitely very different. I'd say this is more different than a traditional economic game than it is different than a real-time strategy. Oh, no, it's kind of 50-50, because you know, you are watching the supply and demand, but, you know, there's definitely real-time strategy elements to it. And obviously with real players you can't pause, but it's one that, you know, even some board gamers might be interested, especially if you like, you know, stockpile or acquire or games like that that are about manipulating markets. This is a very different way to go about doing it. So there is a look at Offworld Trading Company. It's currently on early access in Steam. They do seem to be updating the game and working on it. No idea when it may be coming out, but it might be worth a look if it's something that interests you. Alright, thanks a lot for watching, and we should be back with more content real soon. And like I said, I did just start a Twitter account and Twitch channel, also at JB's Total Gaming. If you want to check those out, follow those so that, you know, when I do some of this content, you can see it live and keep you up to date what is going on. So thanks again, and we'll talk to you guys again soon.